Ladies and gentlemen, good morning for Netherlands and good afternoon for Indonesia. Welcome to Zoominar International Palm Oil Dialogues Identifying Small Wins Toward ISPO of 1 million palm oil smallholders in Indonesia in 2025. I am Ilhamda Al-Zuhri as the Master of Ceremony for this event. This Zoominar connects two research projects, the project of Wageningen University Research and on small wins toward transformational change of the Indonesian palm oil sectors, funded by Royal Academy of Social Sciences of Netherlands. And the IPB project aimed at strengthening palm oil sustainability, funded by Kehati UK CCU. The rundown of today's Zoominar begin with welcoming address from Dr. Arya Hadi Darmawan and Professor Dr. Otto Hospes, followed by keynote speech from Dr. Insinyur Musdalifah Mahmud MT. And after that, we will begin the first dialogue session, and we will have a break time for 15 minutes. And next, we will continue the second and third dialogue. And we will have the second break time for 15 minutes, and this event will be end by concluding remarks. We will have a welcoming address from Mr. Arya Hadi Darmawan and Mr. Otto Hospes. The first welcoming address is from Dr. Arya Hadi Darmawan. He is the head of Department Science Communication and Community Development, IPB University, Indonesia. He is also an associate professor in political ecology, IPB University. And for the past 10 years, he did research on the palm oil. His publication can be seen on the screen. So without further ado, to Mr. Arya, please welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning in the Netherlands, in the European regions, and also in the United States, because I heard that some colleagues from United States are also joining to this Zoominar. And good afternoon in the Indonesian areas and also ASEAN countries and Australia. Allow me on behalf of the Wageningen University and Research and also Faculty of Human Ecology, Bogor Agricultural University, and also SPOS Indonesia to warmly welcome you to this event. This event is titled with Identifying Small Wins Towards ISPO, Certification of 1 million palm oil smallholders in Indonesia in 2025. It is a very ambitious title. Ladies and gentlemen, IPB and the partners, international partners, have been working on oil palm smallholders issues in Indonesia across province since 2014 to 2021, and we have been identifying numerous complexities that smallholders have to face on the ground in terms of sustainable certification processes in Indonesia. And today we need to take stock of knowledge from the Zoominar in terms of seeing how well actually ISPO, Indonesian Sustainable Palm Oil, fits the European Union palm oil sustainability criteria. And the second, looking for the concrete ways of opportunities of strengthening and empowering the credibility and the acceptance of ISPO certification in the international arenas. And the third is looking for the concrete option to help the smallholders, because the problem is in Indonesia is in the smallholders to be able to comply with sustainability standards accepted internationally. Just giving too short to warmly to welcome you once again, and thank you, and have a great discussion. I back to the Master of Ceremony.
Thank you very much to Mr. Arya. Ladies and gentlemen, the second welcoming address is from Professor Dr. Otto Hospes from Wageningen University and Research. Mr. Otto Hospes, PhD, is an associate professor from Public Administration and Policy in the Department of Social Science at Wageningen University, and adjunct professor at IPB University, Indonesia. He investigates politics and governance of global value change with a particular focus on the role of public authorities. He is particularly interested in politics and on sustainable palm oils and has extensively conducted research and theorized on governance interaction between the Indonesian government and other actors on this controversial issue. He is a former senior evaluator at the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs and has extensive experience in coordinating large interdisciplinary PhD research program on the global value change. So we would like to invite Mr. Otto Hospes to give a welcoming research. To Mr. Otto, please welcome.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, MC. So it's my pleasure to share some words with you. Imagining you all over the world, not seeing you in front of me, but I've seen a lot of familiar names. These are friends, colleagues, other experts in this field. And we are happy gathering now, long distance in a way, to work on our common aim for today, which is, of course, the title of the seminar. And the key word in this title is this small wins. And you may wonder, well, what is small wins? So basically, small wins comes from an approach and a vision on transformative change that is a bit in between two extremes. One approach is we take an incremental, experimental approach without a long-term vision. Another one is the radical big change theory. Small wins is about concrete and in-depth steps, but with a view to work towards big and transformative change. And it is these that we would like to discuss today. Dr. Arya and myself, engaging with you and moderating the discussions with you, will try to identify what could be these concrete and in-depth steps. Not to be confused with low-hanging fruits or just quick wins, but these are about innovative steps that challenge existing mindsets. So keep this in mind when we have our dialogues, your contributions, your questions also to the discussions. Can we identify small wins towards this big ambition of having 1 million palm oil smallholders being ISPO certified in 2025? All right, maybe next slide. So this is a bit of a different, in many respects, by the way, Zoominar. It's a long distance. We don't meet, but we won't have a lengthy, say, presentations. Of course, there's one big exception. Of course, the esteemed Ibu Mus will present her view and her problem statement on the issue. Afterwards, we'll have much more of dialogues. But whether it's the speech of Ibu Mus or the dialogues, we are all looking this very morning or this afternoon in a constructive way to what is possible. To what is innovative and what can help to overcome deadlock. So this is the first C of today, constructive. We want to be concrete, but also ambitious at the same time. This is about these small wins. So what could be concrete and in-depth steps towards realizing a huge ambition? Well, finding these requires collaboration. There's a multiple small wins that can be identified. So we have to sit together, well, virtually, of course, to identify these small wins. So this is about sharing and gaining knowledge through international, now inter-home office, and also cross-sectoral, so people from different spheres dialogue. I hope you like these 3 Cs, and forgive us if there's technical problems and we are not that smooth in organizing the dialogue. We'll do our best, certainly with the MC on our side. Next slide, please. This is the former slide. Yeah.
This is the end, sir.
All right, and that's then the end. There was another one, but that's the program, and that has already been shown. So thank you very much. I give the word back to the MC.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Otto Hospes. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have keynote speech from Dr. Insinyur Musdalifah Mahmud MT. She is from Deputy Minister for Food and Agribusiness, Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs, the Republic of Indonesia. To Ibu Musdalifah, time is yours.
Mute.
Thank you, Madam Ilhamda. Nice to meet you. Distinguished Miss Charlotte Renat, the Directorate Sustainable Economic Development of Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Arya Darmawan from IPB University, Professor Otto Hobbs, Wageningen University and Research, discussions and expert from Indonesia and Netherlands, Bapak Dr. Rusman Heriawan as National Action Plan Sustainable Palm Oil Forum Advisor, Ibu Diah Suradireja from Kehati, Ibu Rukia Rafiq for TASBI, Pak Narno and Pak Jumadi, representative from smallholders, palm oil smallholders, Mr. Frans Claassen, Chair of the European Palm Oil Alliance, Dr. Maja Slinggeran, Wageningen University and Research, and also Madam Marike de Water Solidaridad. Dear friends and colleagues, good afternoon for Indonesian colleagues and good morning for European colleagues, and to all of you, a perfect day to us all. First, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to have this opportunity to gather with you on today's important event and deliver remarks on the challenge of ISPO certification in domestic and international arena. This palm oil Zoominar dialogue is organized as a collaboration project of IPB University and also with Wageningen University and Research, with an exciting topic on identifying small wins towards ISPO certification of 1 million palm oil smallholders in Indonesia in 2025. I believe that this discussion will improve and strengthen the sustainable palm oil development in Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, as a global demand for edible oil keeps growing and used in almost everything of human needs, from chocolate to ice cream, lipstick to shampoo, palm oil is now the most consumed vegetable oil globally. With 58% of the global share, Indonesia is the world's biggest producer and exporter of palm oil by far. Palm oil industry has contributed 3.5% to the growth domestic product of Indonesia, absorbs more than 16.2 million workers and has a large impact for job creation and other sectors of the economy. In 2019, total palm oil cover had reached 16.38 million hectares in Indonesia, spread in 26 provinces and 217 districts. Going back to the time when palm oil expansion in Indonesia is emerged in the 1980s through the transmigration program and nucleus estate smallholders. Plantation development was dominated by state-owned with 68% share, while private plantation contribute around 30% and smallholder only counted 2%. Then it went through the palm oil booming era from upstream to downstream until the 1990s. The ownership was almost evenly distributed. In 2019, with the state-owned restructured program, the extensive partnership scheme between smallholder as plasma and private as nucleus company, it changed the landscape of palm oil plantation, dominated by private 53% and smallholders 41%. The contribution of smallholders keeps growing and projected to increase to 60% of the total plantation in 2030. According to the Minister of Agriculture Regulation, number 98 of 2013, palm oil smallholder is defined as growers that have a land size of fewer than 25 hectares. At the same time, the majority of Indonesian palm oil smallholders have only less than 4 hectares. The business scale is not adequate to cover modern agriculture practices with certification standards. Therefore, smallholder must establish with group certification such as cooperatives or farmer group. The supply of palm oil product is still as a central issue in international trade. Indonesia and Malaysia are major suppliers contributing around 85% of world palm oil. Hence, both countries have an essential role and is competing in international trade. The palm oil product usually in high demand worldwide include crude palm oil, which is the primary and derivative products such as refined bleached deodorized or RBD and palm oil and palm fatty acid distillate or PFAD. Unfortunately, the unprecedented situation of the global pandemic impact the performance of palm oil export in general. From 2019 to 2020, there is a slight increase in oleochemical export, while other products are dropped. China remains as the most significant market and the leading export destination for Indonesia's palm oil, with just over 6 million tons in 2020. India and European Union are the second and the third largest subsequently. Besides, total export of palm oil and its derivatives declined from 37.4 million tons in 2019 to 34 million tons in 2020 due to limited transportation and movement. Nevertheless, palm oil export values has contributed around 22.97 billion to national income and has shown its resilience during the COVID-19 pandemic. The market was transformed and make sustainable product become a trend in global supply chain. Sustainable certification is worldwide change and has become a prerequisite for tradable product to get legally and access to the international market. With rising global demand for sustainable food and agriculture, the government of Indonesia has issued Presidential Regulation number 44 of 2020 for regarding the Indonesia Sustainable Palm Oil Plantation Certification System, or we call new ISPO, The enactment of new ISPO aims to increase international market acceptance of our sustainable palm oil product. Through this regulation, the objective of the new ISPO certification system are not only to ensure the improve the management, as well as the development of oil palm plantation that conform to new ISPO principle and criteria. The regulation also aims to enhance the acceptance and competitiveness of sustainable palm oil product in national and international market and strengthen the effort to accelerate greenhouse gas emission. To ensure palm oil sustainability compliance with the objective of new ISPO, the government Indonesia has also issued 3 implementing regulations. There are Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs number 10 of 2020 for the governance of ISPO, Minister of Agriculture Regulation number 38 2020 regarding implementing the ISPO certification at the upstream level, and the Minister of Industry Regulation regarding ISPO supply chain and traceability certification for the downstream level, which is currently in progress. As we may aware, many critics offer the old ISPO, and thus in this opportunity, let me express my assurance that the government of Indonesia is committed to the independence and the transparency of new ISPO. The new ISPO Secretariat will be implemented by a professional team, while certification body is responsible to grant the ISPO certificate. If we compare with the old ISPO, transparency is now embedded in the new ISPO, and thus it is expected that this is improved will help to increase international recognition. Through the issuance of the presidential regulation and its complementing regulation on new ISPO, the government Indonesia has made several improvements and revision on its principle and criteria, which is the first for the principle compliance with legislation, which also has to be covered by the smallholder certification for the smallholders. The first is compliance with legislation, and the second one is application of good agriculture practices, and the third, environmental management, natural resources, and biodiversity, and the fourth, labor responsibilities, which is not as one of the requirements to implement by the smallholders, social responsibility and community economic empowerment, also as one of the principle as a requirement for the big plantation, but for the small plantation is not, has to apply it. And also the sixth, application of transparency and continuous business improvement. Talk about transparency, I think we are now seek to have a good implementation for smallholder, what we call transparency for them. Another essential improvement is that the new ISPO will be mandatory for all plantation, including smallholders. This regulation will generate funding for smallholder, which will be distributed through the smallholders group or cooperative and can be provided during the initial ISPO certification period. According to the Director General of Estate Crops, Ministry of Agriculture, 763 ISPO certificate has been issued until March 2021. It is granted to the state-owned company 67 certificates and private companies 675 certificates and smallholders 21 certificates. Compared to other types, 21 certificates for smallholder are not significant. Considering the size of palm oil cover for smallholder has reached 6.672 million hectares. Meanwhile, from the total palm oil cover of 16.83 million hectares, ISPO certified reached around 27%, while non-ISPO plantation remain 12.3 million hectares or 73%. Ladies and gentlemen, palm oil policy has become highly international and complex, characterized by policy spillover, an equal level playing field, and the struggle of data versus data. Many challenges were faced by the new ISPO implementation, especially for smallholder certification. And I will raise some of these challenges and possible opportunities to pull the trigger for the discussion. The challenges in micro level, such as land legality, is the primary constraint for smallholder to achieve ISPO's mandatory target by 2025. The government already launched various schemes and programs to resolve this issue, namely land reform or TORA, and also we use now Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja, which is already involved some solution for the smallholders in the forest area. Group certification and subsidies for smallholder certification in the initial period or joint audit with other sustainable palm oil standards will reduce the certification cost. Incentives came by setting the premium price of ISPO's fresh fruit bunch prices. Different types of smallholders like independent and scheme smallholder, as well as the cropping system, which needs a comprehensive approach. Develop ISPO more inclusive to reach out to the smallholder in the remote area and avoid asymmetric information between government, private, and smallholders regarding the implementation of ISPO certification. In the macro level, the National Action Plan for Sustainable Palm Oil, we call RAN KSD, has addressed the data discrepancies and mandated to strengthen the data collection using a big data system. There are 3.37 million hectares of palm oil plantation identified as a forest area, which is now in progress to be solved under government regulation numbers 23 and 24 of 2021. Negative campaign and discriminatory regulation on palm oil is still becoming significant issues of the ISPO's acceptance in consumer countries. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenges and opportunity that I mentioned beforehand will generate a good discussion in intriguing debate between Indonesia and the Netherlands experts to accelerate the implementation of ISPO certification. This marvelous collaboration between Indonesia and international stakeholders on palm oil will improve the policy-making process. I'm also sure that all discussion areas of expertise will perform an in-depth study and could answer the three main questions on this Zoominar, which are: it is possible to certify 1 million smallholder by ISPO in 2025? Is it possible to implement mixed cropping and social forestry for smallholders? Can ISPO certification on smallholder contribute to international recognition on sustainable palm oil from Indonesia? Recognizing the importance of smallholder in sustainable palm oil development on potential available lands, more affordable costs, and fairer requirements for the certification schemes are recommended to be certified sustainable at the outset. Synchronized ISPO with the other standard scheme may provide smallholders with a chance to obtain certificate required by the market and thus create a more considerable opportunity for smallholders to earn more. This global scale harmonized certification scheme based on international sustainability standard might be an option. By doing so, we could produce an effective, efficient, fair, and sustainable palm oil system to support our national development. There are many problems, but if there is a will, there is a way. The government of Indonesia is committed to solving these problems. Again, the collaboration of policymakers, scientists, experts, smallholders, and all palm oil stakeholders is the key to success. I hope everyone will enjoy and contribute to this seminar positively. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Ibu Musdalifah. Ladies and gentlemen, this event consists of 3 dialogue sessions. The first dialogue is about, is it possible to certify 1 million smallholders by ISPO in 2025? And this session will be moderated by Mr. Otto Hostas. To Mr. Otto Hostas, please welcome.
Yes, so we'll have 2 short statements addressing this main question for this dialogue. And it will be first Marike Leegwater from Solidaridad, and after that, Ibu Uki from Fortaspi, sharing their views on this answer. And afterwards, we'll have a dialogue between them or with me. And gradually I'll open up and you can share your views on this question, maybe comments on what the discussants say in the chat box. And Dr. Panja Pramudia and myself will try to get some questions and comments from the chat box and forward them, share them with Marike and Ibu Uki. So maybe, Marike, you can start giving your statement as an answer to the main question. And I think there's need to unmute Marike, MC, or Ibu Dia. Thanks. Or Marike herself.
Thank you, Otto. And thank you, Ibu Musdalifah, for your very insightful presentation. I hope I have something to add still. I'm honored to be here, so thank you for the invitation. And maybe we can see the first slide. The question that I was asked to speak on is, what is needed to ISPO certify 1 million smallholders in Indonesia? And surely I discussed this with my colleagues in Indonesia. So the first thing I got back was this quote. Can I see the next slide of my the country director of Solidaridad Indonesia, who said to me, Marike, 1 million to achieve by 2025 without incentivization, that is a big number. So we said, but nothing is impossible. So we want to be constructive and ambitious according to the 3 C's. So what is needed? We need commitment by the value chain, I think, and that is one. Mills and refiners should somehow support with implementation. I'm very curious what Uki will have to say about this. Second, we will need some sort of support also by palm oil end users to reward the performance or the certification. Second is we need commitment by governments. I think the commitment of the Indonesian government, as you know, as just described by Ibu Musalifa, is very clear. But somehow I think we need increased recognition of the value of ISPO certification, also of the demand side, also in light of the new EU import regulations that are coming up for products that may be associated with deforestation. Maybe you can talk more on that. And somehow I think there's also a need for underground support or capacity that kind of can deliver stuff underground, because we've seen with ISPO certification, I think as Solidaridad certification, it doesn't kind of automatically arrive. So to talk about small wins, maybe I can see the next slide. What would be helpful as first steps, maybe? And I think I heard Ibu Musalifa say it as well. You know, we need probably some more degree of transparency to support recognition by the value chain and by the demand side government. I think what would be helpful, and maybe it's there, but I haven't been able to pick it up, the principles and criteria and the verification mechanism somehow available in English language. And some, like you just showed the progress on the slide, but maybe it would be nice to put that also in a website somewhere and report transparently on this progress and challenging. Maybe some mechanism for dialogue with NGOs or other interested parties could be very useful to promote recognition. And another thing, and that is taken, I think, from experience with ISPO, where I see that the grievance mechanisms play a very important role in ensuring there's actually delivery upon the standard. I'm not sure it exists, maybe it's there, but I think it could play a very helpful role. And then the other thing, and that's also, I think, learning from ISPO. I think if you look at ISPO figures now, also there, the certification of smallholders is really lagging behind. And one of the big reasons for that, and I hope Uki can also comment on that, is that it's sometimes quite difficult to make sure that the gains or the benefits of smallholders of the certification are bigger than the costs thereof. And the same applies for industry players. So somehow, I think as a value chain, we should ensure that the investments needed on the ground can be recovered by rewards generated from the value chain. I think that's a prerequisite to really drive change. So Otto, this is what I presented or prepared, and I'm really looking forward to discussion with Uki and other questions and comments from the floor. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Marika. This is very clear. Also on the small wins side, exactly as we kindly ask you to do. In some minutes, we will come back, of course, to your contribution on this. But let's first listen to Ibu Uki, and then start the discussion. Please, Ibu Uki, may I welcome you?
You, Pauto. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so
loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to invite me to be here. And I think I also have slides, so I hope you can share my slide. Okay, maybe next slide, please. Yeah, next slide, please. Okay, I will start from what we already have in Indonesia. Yeah, this is for TASBI is Indonesian Sustainable Palm Oil Forum. Yeah, this is funded in 2014. This is our member from across Indonesia. And then now we already have 9,000 independent smallholders, and mostly of them is certified ISPO, and also some of them is maybe 1.9 thousand is already ISPO certification combined with the ISPO, and also we have one group ISCC certification, and we so based on this map, so that means the certification, especially for the independent smallholders, it's very possible. So we also have a partner in the ground. For example, NGO, they also work closely with the independent smallholder in the ground, support them to go to the certification, not only for ISPO, but also ISPO and ICC. We also work together with the mill, and also, of course, we also work together with the local government. So this is, this collaboration is like a small win now. Next slide, please. And yes, we can see that if we compare between the smallholder condition with the ISPO certification, so yes, there is a big gap between this. So, but if we see deeply on what the ISPO requirements, and all of the requirement is based on the government regulation. So I think the government, this is the key actors, how to make 1 million smallholders to go to the certification. The government, this is the key actors. So I will say that this is under authority of the government. So this is the second our small win. Okay, right? And then please, next slide, please. Yeah. I also want to say that this is possible. Yeah. Why? But we have to providing the enabling condition. We already have everything. We already have the data. We already have the data. The mill, they already have the data of independent smallholder. The government, they also have the data. Also NGO, and also maybe the buyer, they have the data. So another possibility is we have to push not only the government, but also push the mill and buyer to take responsibility to support independent smallholder to go to the certification, because all of the smallholder are supply base of the mill. So they have to take the responsibility to ensure their supply base is certified ISPO. Okay. And another, in addition to enabling condition, is providing incentive. But I'm not thinking about the new incentive for the smallholders. Why? Because the incentive there is an opportunity to incentivize the smallholder certified. This already available, but not well integrated yet. For example, incentive from village fund in the village ministry. So can you imagine that village ministry also support the independent smallholder to go to the certification in the village level? In another opportunity is how we can integrate it with the cooperative ministry. So as I know that in ministry cooperative also they have fund to support the cooperative. So if we have integrated all of the program in the ministry in Indonesia, I think we can also support the independent smallholder 1 million to go to the certification, because we already have the incentive in Indonesia. I think this is the easy things, not the new incentive, but we can creating the incentive from ministry program. And another is like a replanting program. I think if the smallholder is already certified, this is like a password if they want to get the replanting program. I think this is also not really difficult, right? And the last is collaboration with the other certification system. As in my slide in the beginning said that we already have 9,000 smallholders already there. So I think if we collaborate with another certification system like RSPO and ICC, I think this is also easy to us to bring 1 million to certify in 2025, because I think we already have for a small win, right? And this is if we are work together, collaborating, and then thinking about what we can do and sharing our responsibility to support the independent smallholder, I think we can bring the 1 million certified ISPO into 2025. Thank you, Pak Otto.
Wow. Applause, applause. What a great presentation. And terima kasih banyak. Huh? So and also, of course, Ibu Marika. So let me ask you a few questions, and forgive me if I'm a bit of rude. This is a bit of my role to steer a bit of discussion. And Ibu Marika, can you be a bit more concrete on what you expect from the mills? I think this is a very nice idea. I think they are crucial also in the value chains, etc., etc. And just talking about commitments. So yes, that's always the start. It starts with the intention. But what could be kind of, you know, a mechanism, or what could they do to make steps and let the certification of smallholders, ISPO certification, well, you know, accelerate? What next to commitment? What are clever moves, or could be clever moves? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, I think in a way, but I would say it's nearly stating the obvious. So maybe we should look at what's hampering it. But probably it's making a time-bound plan to say, you know, what is needed? How do I get my, you know, intake organized? And that's a matter of working with your suppliers and probably also with your buyers to generate resources. So it's kind of acting as an aggregation point.
Yeah.
But maybe we should ask Uki if she has any perspective why this is maybe difficult at this stage.
Great, Ibu Uki.
Sorry, can you make it a simple question for me, please?
Sorry, Uki. You know, in a way, you would think like, you know, the mills are in a position to organize smallholders, right? Because all the smallholders, they eventually, as you also said, sell to mills. So if as a value chain, you know, things need to be organized, somehow you would require of mills to, you know, work with smallholders to get them organized somehow. But clearly, this seems to be difficult because otherwise, you know, this number of smallholders certified would be higher already.
I think this is also another possible opportunity how we can push the mill to organize independent smallholders, but on fairly partnership. Okay.
Yep.
Right? Because the fairly is very difficult, not organizing, but the fairly collaboration, this is very difficult in the ground. So I think this is, the government have to have like a time bond from the mill when they have to completely comply with all of the requirements, not only in their scheme smallholder, but also in the independent smallholder, because you know as we know that all of the independents, they are sell FFB to the mill, right? Not processing their own. They not process in their self, right? They have to go to the mill. So that means another case is the mill. So the government have to push to mill to take responsibility to support the independent smallholders. Because
Ibu Uki, would you go that far that the government, either local or maybe even national, would require mills to to get farmers organized and to get them ISPO certified?
I'm not sure, because in an ISPO standard for the company or for the mill, there is no responsibility to mill to small in smallholder inclusiveness. This is very different with RSPO, because in RSPO's requirement there is a principle. I don't know. I forget, but in principle 5 that the meal have to include the independent smallholders in 3 years after they get the certification.
Okay.
So I think this is also a recommendation for the government how to thinking about this.
All right. Well, that's maybe moving towards a small win there. So changing the commitment into action by pushing a bit, this could help. Ibu Uki, I'm really impressed by your efforts, and also throughout Indonesia, the number of groups organized, etc., etc. I'm going to ask again the bit of maybe obvious question. This seems such a success. Forgive me the question. Why hasn't it not attracted others to follow the example? Other farmers to get organized and say, "Hey, this is great." Can you explain? Can you give us a clue why others have not followed the example?
Actually, they want to be organized, but they didn't know how to organize themselves. So they need our support.
Yeah.
And this is the first reason. The second is, this is in Sumatra. In Sumatra, they already have a bad experience with the cooperative. In the 10 years ago. So now if the government come to the village and then ask them to organize, so they said that, I don't know, because this is because this is the government program, not our program. So this is, they already have the bad experience in the maybe 20 years ago. So they need friends to talk and to share how to moving forward. So this is the problem behind why they not really expressed to go to organize themselves. And the third reason is, if they want to sell their FFB, the organization is not really requirement in the mill. So the mill can buy the FFB through middleman. So the independent smallholder will thinking, why I have to organize, because still there middleman there, and then I can sell my FFB to the middleman, and then this is the condition, not only in Sumatra but also in Kalimantan. So why we have to work together, and solving this problem together, not only for the NGO or the mill, but with the government, because the government, Indonesia is under authority of the government, right? So we need them to support us because we are working in the local level. This is part of it.
Before I turn to a number of questions from the audience, of course, also thanks a lot for already sharing your questions. I have another stupid question to Ibu Uki. Suppose Fortaspi seems like a change agent, key in moderating and having discussions with smallholders, getting them organized, etc., etc. Suppose the government, and I'm a bit of looking at Ibu Mus, suppose the government said, look, next to Fortaspi, we'll have 9 other Fortaspis, and throughout the country. And this is how we're going to approach it. So Fortaspi as a moderator, and Fortaspi-like organizations, would that be a plan for Ibu Mus, like to find these 9 others and together work on, through these multi-stakeholder exercises and get farmers organized, solve issues? I mean, this is an offer you can't refuse, I think. But if Fortaspi is such a great agency, why not, in a way, copy it and have other ones, under the orchestration of, this is a very suggestive question, of Ibu Mus working on this crazy ambition? What do you think, Ibu Uki?
Actually, the Fortaspi is like independent smallholders platforms. So if they are commit to go to the certification and implement the sustainability standard in the ground, so they can join in this platform. because for TASB it's like the school. They can learn how to manage the certificate, how to scale up the impact of the certification, because the certification is not only for the port. The certification impact is have to bigger than in their port only, right? So yes, I don't know how to answer your question, but I hope we can work together with the government. So we plan actually for us. We have planned, because we already have 9,000 smallholders. We will contribute 2 years next. And then we will bring 9,000 smallholders to also comply with the ISPO certification, because they already certified ISPO. That means they already have a good management in organization. And then they also already have a good experience in certification. So this is our commitment. Maybe 2024, before 2025. So we are trying to we try to contribute in Indonesian government.
All right, thanks.
And another things also, we are now trying to collaborate with the RSPO, to collaborate with the government to promoting about the ISPO certification. So our member can be like I forget what we call is like we will be a vendor for government. ISPO certification.
I think I'm enthusiastic about for TASB. I think you've developed a kind of model, and I think, well, to use that word, a collaborative governance. So you're working on this, and I think this indeed could be a small win to find ways, and also invite government to think about how to strengthen the organization and lead to more, in a good way, certifications. So I think this is key. Let me go back to a few questions from the esteemed audience. Also coming back to the question on the mills and the independent smallholders. The question from Frans Klaassen. The question, maybe both Ibu Uki and Marike can try and answer. How would independent smallholders, how would they think about the key role of mills to organize smallholders? Yeah,
it's a good question. I think Ibu Uki and myself have been in contact very frequently about this, like puzzling around this question. Because it's quite, mills are in a power position towards smallholders. So in general, if you force the partnerships, then it's kind of quite easy that the smallholders are not giving a fair deal. So somehow we should make sure that the relations that we try to create lead to fair and good outcomes for the smallholders. So, but I think, again, as always, Uki is the real expert on this field. So I will pass the floor here again.
Yeah, it's okay. We have to find answers together. So, Ibu Uki.
Yeah, I think I already mentioned before that actually is smallholder very happy with if the mill take action or responsibility to support them, because they are very close, right? They are behind the smallholders. So I think this is possible to push the mill to support the independent smallholders. For example, I'm staying in the Bogor. This is very difficult. It's very difficult for me to go to the village and teach them and train them. So I think the position of as Marika said, the power of the mill. This is the opportunity. So I think,
but somehow we should look into the contractual relations. We try to ensure there should be transparency of pricing, and these are things that are also being experimented with in RSPO, and some sort of pricing committees, negotiations, living income rules. So I think if the government thinks about, let's say, putting in ISPO a requirement for mills to include all smallholders, like is done in ISPO, then it's really good to look at, let's say, the contractual arrangements that are set up and the mechanisms to go with this.
Yeah, I think this could be a small win. So not easy to be done, but it's a kind of leverage mechanism that could be used. Of course, there's many more to it because there's much more between the mills and the smallholders, but this could have an effect. There's another question from Ida Greenbury, and it's on the issue of organizing smallholders, and where she puts it that it sounds rather patronizing, doesn't it, Ibu Uki? This is a paraphrasing from her. So what steps have been taken by the large palm oil companies and the government to create fair partnerships between companies and smallholders? Between companies and smallholders. Can you react to that, Ibu Uki?
Yeah, actually, in this case, the government have to involve.
Yeah.
And because we cannot bring, we cannot give the room to for mill or the bigger player to work together without government inside.
Yeah.
So I think not left them in the arena.
Yeah.
But we have I think this is my response about that.
Yeah. And if you say government, Ibu Uki, can you be a bit more specific, please? Like, is this what kind of government? Local government and
yes, local government. So the government also have to provide the regulation on that.
Yeah.
Because if there is no regulation, everyone cannot follow the regulation, right?
Yeah.
So if there is the regulation about how to organize a smallholder, how the rule of the mill, and I think this is also the fair how they can.
Okay.
Also, I want to quickly also respond because I know what AIDA kind of means. It's sort of patronizing, or how we speak about it, like it's some sort of subject. But I think as you will see when Uki approaches farmers, I've been with her to the field, and I think that's also in Solidaridad's program, and I'm sure that AIDA will experience the same. AIDA, I think you're associated with SPKS, right? So that's always when we think about farmers and when we develop and design programming, we see them as entrepreneurs and very, let's say, human beings, and with their own motivations and their own individual characteristics. And they're, let's say, none of the smallholders is very similar. So I think we're here now talking about big structures, but when you drill down and you go to the ground, and you'll see that every context will require its own approaches and dealings. And I think that's one of the forces that Uki and Setara Jambi have been demonstrating.
Yeah. Can you elaborate a bit on that, Ibu Uki, then maybe? Because this is also, I think, a very important point. So what are the kind of ideas and suggestions, initiatives that, of course, I mean, smallholders are human agents, so they have ideas. So this is a general question, how to tap also on the ideas of smallholders themselves, to organize themselves, to work on this certification. How are you working on this? And Ibu Aida kind of suggests, like, you have, you organize smallholders, but I think Marika rightly says, and I think you agree, that smallholders themselves, they have many ideas. So can you dive into that, please, a bit?
Our experience is how to reach the smallholders in the village level. We conduct the training TOT for the smallholders. So after they get the training, so they back to their village, and then like bring the norm of the sustainability and transform to their community. So this is the strategy, because we have 4 million smallholders. So I cannot, maybe Marika, maybe everyone cannot reach everyone. So I think this is the strategy, how we can reach them, like creating the local trainer. And then this is also the good strategy. So this is our experience in Port ASPI. So I think this is a nice strategy.
I think this is your way to say multiply yourself, and also through a farmer-led approach. So is this also on your slide? Like create a program for 1,000 local trainers.
Yes.
For 1,000 ISH.
Independent smallholders. IHS is independent smallholders.
Yeah. And how are you going to do that? How are you going to find and create that program?
We are collaborate with the buyers and also with the donors, but not 1,000, because this is only my my suggestion, because we are thinking about the 1 million. So 1,000 trainer can reach 1,000. Each the trainer can reach 1,000. That means will be 1 million, right? But for our program is we have a program to train, because we for TASB have the smallholder school.
Yeah.
So this and then we also have the master trainer in our smallholder school in Port ASPI. And then today I'm in East Kalimantan, also try to make a local trainer in East Kalimantan. So even it's small, but I think we have to like make spreading for knowledge to everyone. So this is only our strategy, but this is very I think positive. Because we work together with the local government, and then train them to make sure that they understand about the standard, about how to organize the smallholders in the cooperative, how to organize the smallholder to the group, and then comply with the standard. So I think this is I think this is our strategy. I don't know. This is effective for everyone or no. I don't know.
I think it's a fascinating idea, and it's also a bit of an answer to this 1 million smolder thing. So that's a program. So how to scale up. I think if next year the number of certified smolders ISPO has doubled, I mean, then it will take a long time before reaching the 1 million. So this is really a strategy.
Yeah.
The other one you mentioned also, which is on, I'm looking a bit at the time, on your slide, is you're saying you collaborate with other certificate systems, RSPO and ISCC. Can you explain that a bit? Like, would that also be, and could that be a small win, like collaborating with? Can you explain, Ibu Uki?
Okay, I think that because we are thinking about the 1 million, this is very ambition.
Yeah.
So we have to thinking out of the box, right?
I
think collaborating with another certification system, this is very possible.
Yeah.
We can use because in RSPO system they have incentive. So I think that the smallholders also can use this opportunity to support their organization in the future, because in ISPO until now we are still there is no direct incentive for the smallholders, because the FFB who already certified, between the FFB not certified, this is the same price. There is no difference. So why I think that ISPO also have to collaborate with another platform, so they can join collaboration to promoting about the independent smallholders, because if we see the standard is same, right? So why they are not collaborate? And another thing is for ISCC also, this is the same, because the ISCC already have the fixed incentive for the independent smallholder or smallholder already certified ISCC, so we can collaborate. I think ISPO need time to creating the mechanism for incentive, so we can use another platform to creating incentive for smallholders. This is also the good way to collaborate with another certification.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to bring us to thinking of the box side.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very good idea. It's kind of, also a bit of, say, on the ground, and you're looking at that level to ways how to move forward, and putting aside like, okay, what is the best? No, all certification systems want the same thing. Well, say generally speaking, I mean, if we are going to make quarrel about that, so then we'll get parallel systems, confusion.
Yeah.
The trick is indeed what you exactly say, like the mechanism, how to arrange that, and
maybe I think if we can establish willingness on both RSPO side and ISPO side, there are good opportunities to, let's say, RSPO has created this mechanism of stepwise improvements. Sorry, I hear funny sounds. Where I think it's technically very well able to create a link between, let's say, RSPO has now a stepping stone model with eligibility criteria, milestone A, milestone B. So if we could link, for example, ISPO to RSPO eligibility or milestone A, we would need to look into that. But, that would be a very helpful exchange, I think.
I think this is something to be further explored. It makes it very concrete, not at a very national, international level, but make it very concrete, and then try to work out models for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I was informed that this dialogue we have to wind up. I see quite some other questions also in the chat box. Thanks for that. Sorry that I can't accommodate them. For sure, we'll have them. We also save them and use them as input. But I've heard quite some small steps, ladies and gentlemen, at the level of mills, at the level of trainers of trainers, tapping from knowledge of smallholders. We are coming into that the next dialogue more, I think, and developing collaborative systems at, say, the local level between different certification systems. So keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Let us work on this. And I give the floor back to the MC, please.
Thank you, Otto.
Yeah, you're welcome. MC, can you step in?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for Mr. Otto for moderating the first session of dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, as an appreciation for our panelists, in the first dialogue, we present a certificate for Ms. Marike and Ibu Rukaya. Thank you for your time and effort in our agenda. Moving on, we will begin the second dialogue that is about, is it possible for smallholders to implement best management practice required by ISPO, especially in relation with intercropping, mixed cropping, and agroforestry? And this session will be moderated by Mr. Arya Hadi Darmawan. To Mr. Arya, please welcome.
Okay, thank you. Should we start with the second session? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, now we are in the dialogue 2. I would like to invite Dr. Rusman Heriawan. He is advisor of Forum for National Action Plan of Sustainable Palm Oil. He was also former Vice Minister of Agriculture of the Republic of Indonesia. And the second is Dr. Maya Slingerland. She is a senior lecturer and senior researcher from Wageningen University and Research. Please welcome both of them, Pak Rusman and Dr. Maya Slingran. First of all, I would like to please, if you don't mind, Pak Rusman, ladies first.
Okay.
To give the
Please.
chance to Dr. Maya Slingran to just very short to present your presentation. The floor is yours, Ibu Maya.
Thank you, Pak Arya. I don't know. I sent some slides. I don't know if they arrived. So can you put on the slide screen? Yeah, thank you. So the question posed to me was, is it possible for smallholders to implement best management practices required by ISPO, especially related to intercropping, agroforestry, and other integrated systems? I have to tell you that I'm an agronomist by background, and I'm also a researcher, so I'm not an implementer. But my way of doing research is picking up on practices already on the ground and see if we can add value to them. Can I get my second slide, please? Oh, yeah, there's this one, yeah. So the answer is yes. And why is it yes? I did quite some agronomic research, and also IPB did research, and it has confirmed that there is no negative effect of intercropping or of livestock integration in oil palm on oil palm yield. So this means that intercropping or livestock grazing in oil palm should qualify as best management practices in ISPO, but also in RSPO. But furthermore, integrated systems save fertilizer and herbicides, and thereby they contribute to criteria 3, which is saving the environment, and therefore it fits even better in ISPO. And point 3, integrated systems save land compared to monoculture, and this should be explicitly rewarded by ISPO, but also by RSPO. And let me explain you this by a small example. If you have an oil palm field and you put, for instance, pineapple in between, then you can have the equivalent of 0.8 hectares of pineapple within your one oil palm field. So you save 0.8 hectare by putting the crops together. And I think in the certification systems, this saving of land should be rewarded, because that land does not need to be deforested. That land does not emit greenhouse gas emissions. That land will not lose biodiversity, because this pineapple is not on the 0.8 hectare additional land, but it is within the oil palm plantation. So, and for grazing, you have a similar system. If cattle graze under oil palm, it doesn't need separate grazing land. So I think this is a missing link in all the certification systems. Furthermore, integrated systems increase living income and income resilience. They provide food within the oil palm landscapes. So we saw just a shop shown by Marieke Leegwater. In that shop, people can buy food, but wouldn't it be nice if they can produce that food within the oil palm plantation? And it leads to rural development, which also fit ISPO objectives. Agroforestry, which is more with timber trees, that needs more research, because timber trees may compete with palm oil trees and thereby reduce the oil yield. So I think these systems need to be researched, and in Jambi it is already researched, and also Ari Susanto, who is on the call, is also doing research on agroforestry systems. So it's really important. But in agroforestry systems, often you have a less number of trees, of palm trees. And therefore, I think these agroforestry systems should be as buffer zones close to protected areas. Because if you have less trees palm trees per hectare, they will not add so much to the volume of oil, but they will mainly add to the biodiversity and ecosystem services. Can I go to the next slide? So what can we do? We see a lot of smallholders do already intercropping or grazing, but they are suboptimal. So we might want to define best management practices for that, and that may be part of the guidelines. When many farmers use the same crop or the same livestock in intercropping, there need to be attention for supply chain management for those crops and those livestock. I don't know who's going to do that, but it's important. And what's also interesting, you can have overlapping land use. Why would we keep smallholders in their small farms? Why wouldn't we allow smallholders to graze or to put crops in the plantations, in the commercial plantations. And I've seen several examples already of it, that plantations allow smallholders to graze in their plantation, and then they save herbicides because the the cattle act as a weeding mechanism, and they save fertilizers because the cattle leave their urine and feces in the plantation. So there may be some environmental benefits there. So I think ISPO may use it as a selling point to be the first certification scheme to explicitly make land saving an indicator of sustainability for smallholders and company by rewarding intercropping and grazing within palm plantations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Maya. We will be coming back to you after the presentation of Pak Rusman. Now, I would like to invite Pak Rusman to present your short presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Arya. Yeah, I think the same question come to me, yeah, like to Dr. Maya. So, is it possible that smallholder can implement the best management practices? So I have only 2 slides, yeah, very simple. But I have to. I hope that you can read the slide, yeah, clearly, because it's very small letters. Yeah. So I don't want to explain the left columns because it's already mentioned, yeah, also by Ibu Musdalifah. That I also that I will explain a little bit about the middle one and the right columns. Okay. Smallholder farmers, how to develop the management practices, the best management practices with the many weaknesses, yeah, and many constraints, yeah, faced by smallholder. Yeah, we can see here weaknesses, yeah, like internal factor. Yeah, we have. I think you agree with me that smallholder usually has very low capacity and capability, yeah, because of knowledge, because of best practices, and etc. And 2, they don't have any experience implement the good agriculture practices like good seed, the quality of seed, and then fertilizer, pesticide, insecticide. They don't have any experience, but they just learning by doing. Yeah. And number 3, yeah, insufficient fund for replanting, because we are now entering the 2nd generation of the oil palm plantation. Yeah. And then replanting is a big issue now in Indonesia because already 30 years they deal with the oil palm plantation before. So in the external factor, we have again, yeah, oil palm in the state forest area. It is a very fundamental problem, yeah, facing by the farmers. And number 2 is the permit, yeah, license for the oil palm cultivation. Also, they have no experience at all. Number 3 is farmer institution, farmer organization, also very weak. And then market access, they don't have any experience. They have only sell the FFB to mills. And then look down, we can see the ISPO achievement by 2011 to 2021, as mentioned also by Bu Musdalifah. Yeah, that you can see very, very big gap here between the private sector and smallholder here. Yeah, private sector, they already achieved 66% of the 8.68 million hectares, yeah, already certified. But for the state-owned company, they have only 40.2%, yeah, out of 0.98 million hectares. And here, number 3, smallholder only reach 0.21%, yeah, of the 6.72 million hectares. Then even less than 1%. Yeah, only 17 cooperatives get the ISPO certification, and only 7,700 farmers already get the ISPO certification. Yeah, if we link to the our target, yeah, very ambitious target, yeah, 1 million farmers should get the ISPO certification by 2025. Yeah, it's a very interesting discussion now with the small wins. And then let the keywords for the how to improve the management practices by smallholder. Actually, smallholder is subsistence entities. Yeah, they don't have any complicated management. Yeah, they work by themselves. Yeah, alone. And then it's also challenges for the smallholder. Yeah, one is the instrument that we can implement it is the president interaction. Yeah, number 6, 2019. That is National Action Plan for Sustainable Palm Oil. This president instruction involving 24 ministries, 28 programs, and then 92 activities. Yeah, it is kind of a platform that we can work together, yeah, using the collaborative and collective action. So here we expect the stakeholder here, like government, yeah, give the regulation, yeah, better regulation, policy, or facilitation to the smallholder, because the National Action Plan for Sustainable Palm Oil concentrated only, especially for the smallholder. The number 2 is private sector. Yeah. Private sector, yeah, give the partnership, yeah, CSR, including mills, yeah. And then we have also Palm Oil Fund Management Agency, BPDPKS, yeah, yeah, using their mission to do replanting, yeah, funding for replanting, infrastructure, capacity building, yeah, NGO, CSO, like we already clearly, yeah, mission brought by Postasbi and etc. Yeah, development partner, capacity building. And then number 5, farmer association like GAPKI, yeah, supporting partner. So in case of the oil palm replanting smallholder, we have until now, but still very low, yeah, only 223,000 hectares. Mean that 28% from the target of 800,000 hectares, yeah, already given by replanting program. So this is the whole of the picture, how to make a better management practices, yeah, by smallholder. Next slide, only 2 slides I have. This is kind of related to the intercropping, miscropping, and agroforestry, yeah, in relation to the oil palm plantation. We give a note here. First, intercropping and other cropping models are only relevant, yeah, to the oil palm plantation during the replanting period, because actually the oil palm is monoculture, not polyculture. So to introduce intercropping, better if we think about the replanting period. Number 2, aim to create an additional income before oil palm yield harvested. As we know that during replanting period, year 1, year 2, year 3, they don't have any revenue from the oil palm plantation. So they need some additional money to survive their life. Okay, and then there is some example of the intercropping, like intercropping between corn and oil palm, initiated by government 2 years ago, by providing corn seed. But we evaluate that since it is not full package program, execution by farmer facing many difficulties. There is no continuation of this program because they need to intercrop between corn and oil palm by that time is to increase the corn production, because we still import big number of tons for corn. Number B is the cassava and oil palm, sorghum and oil palm, soybean and oil palm. This is based on farmers' experiences, and local wisdom. No best practices for this. Too many trial and error cases. So I think this is just farmers' experiences. Number 2 is mixed cropping. The model is mostly founded in integrated food cropping, not with the palm oil. Like corn, cassava, soybean, they plant in the same time, to get to make land efficient. Green agroforestry. Currently, social forestry scheme is still not compatible for the oil palm plantation, because we agroforestry only for the food crop, not for the palm oil. But here these days we introduce also intermediate strategy. We call the strategy jangka benah. Is being developed by introducing an agroforestry approach to oil palm, but still under discussion of the strategy jangka benah or intermediate strategy. The number 4 is cattle oil palm integrated model, aims to contribute domestic supply chains of beef. There is still a limited number of oil palm companies implement this model. Even this already introduced to 2011, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Arya. Thank you.
Very nice and very interesting presentation. Please give applause to Ibu Maya and Pak Rusman Heriawan for a very interesting presentation. Ibu Maya and Pak Rusman, dear audience, just before I invite the question from the audience, I would like to ask something about the point that is raised by Pak Rusman about intercropping system is used to just to wait for the just before harvesting the palm oil. But Ibu Maya said that intercropping system should be permanently for the oil palm plantation. I think there is a different perspective between Ibu Maya, who is saying that agroforestry and social forestry or intercropping system should be permanent for the palm oil. But Pak Rusman said it's only just temporary. Maybe Ibu Maya, can you also give a question to Pak Rusman? But I would like to let Pak Rusman Heriawan first to answer that.
Yes. from the agronomy point of view, maybe it's possible, yeah, to make an intercropping, yeah, until as long as the oil palm is there, yeah, agronomy's point of view. But in practice, yeah, in the field, I found that the intercropping was implemented, yeah, only within the replanting period. Yeah. After that, they only concentrate how to increase the production for oil palm. That's my views. Okay.
Sorry,
So the
can
palm
I
oil should
react?
be monoculture. Yeah, Ibu Maya, please go ahead.
I think what I was saying is intercropping till 4 years, like the former speaker says, is possible, because afterwards the oil palm closes its canopy and then the crops cannot grow under the tree anymore. But if you want to do permanent cropping, you have to space the oil palm differently. And there is an alley cropping system, or the double row avenue system, which allows to have permanent intercropping, but then you have to space the palm trees differently. And then for agroforestry, of course, in agroforestry, the trees will be face competition by the other crops or by the other trees. But the idea is for smallholders, they can still have a good income if they have different crops in the same field. But it's not a good option for volume of oil, because the few palms that are there will definitely not give a lot of oil for the hectare. So what I propose is for the first 4 years, you can put annual crops always between the palms without any problems. And then you have to remove them, because then the palm is stronger, taking all the light. But if you want to do permanent intercropping, you have to space the palms wider, and then you can do it permanently. And for agroforestry, it's not so much for the oil, it's more for the ecosystem services and the income of the farmer.
Okay. Yeah. The other issues, as Pak Rusman also mentioned, about the issues of oil palm in the forest areas. I think it is very, very critical issues for Indonesia, because we have more or less 3 million hectares palm oil belonging to the smallholders inside the forest area. And because of that, then they are not able to certify the land and implement the ISPO. Yeah. The question is the RAN KSP, or the National Action Plan of Sustainable Palm Oil should do is something relating to the legal issues. Yeah? Can you elaborate a bit, Pak Rusman? How can you approach to this very critical situation in Indonesia, and retaining the smallholders to be survive with the palm oil? And the same question is Ibu Maya. Our issues is palm oil inside the forest. Yeah, is that possible to do the solution with intercropping? Because this is a legal issues, not technical issues. How can you share the idea how to solve the problem of farmers who are inside of the forest area? First, Pak Rusman, can you respond to these issues?
Yeah, before that, we have, we call the President Instruction number 8, 2018, about the moratorium. Yeah, moratorium for the palm oil plantation, and at the same time, how to increase the productivity, yeah, among the smallholder, within the smallholder. That is the president's instruction already implement, yeah, especially by the forestry and environment and forestry ministry, and by the report, yeah, we refer to the report by the ministry that it's workable, and then the deforestation rate, yeah, for the after 2018 is a little bit slower. yeah, and then significantly make lower the deforestation rate. And then we introduced also presidential instruction number 6.6 2019, yeah, 2019 about the National Action Plan for the sustainable palm oil. Yeah, this involved mean also the three ministries, yeah, the champion for the ISPO, yeah, National Action Plan for Sustainable Palm Oil. There are three ministries, the champion. One is the Ministry of Agriculture. Number two is the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Number three is the Ministry of the Special, what's the Agrarian and Spatial, ATRBPN, Pak Arya.
Yeah.
Yeah. Three ministries become the champion.
Just before to Ibu Maya, please my naive question. How effective is actually the moratorium policy? Because if you are going to the ground, moratorium policy is effective for the large scale plantation, but for the smallholders, it's a bit they are ignoring the policy. Can you elaborate more on that, Pak Risman?
Yeah, we predict that by 2030, for example, yeah, Bu Musdalifah in the keynote speech also mentioned about the by 2030, for example, yeah, the smallholder share in the land use, yeah, for the oil palm is become bigger and bigger, yeah, because even we stop we do the moratorium, yeah, but for the smallholder, they still maybe because too many smallholder there, yeah, to 4 million farmers, dealing with the oil palm. I think, leakage, still any leakages for that, But for the private company, the big company, they cannot, do land extension for the oil palm, actually. So by 2030, we will see that smallholder become bigger. The share of smallholder become bigger. Still leakage, but not big as before, before the presidential instruction number 8.
But because of that, then we have still problem with the credibility of our ISPO, Pak Rusman.
But in the presidential instruction number 6, that I mentioned before, we involve also the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, for to solve the problem of the oil palm in the forest area, and then they are now working on that, to how to solve this problem, not like black and white, all before we make them white, but maybe some area can be solved for the oil palm in the forest area. Thank you.
Mr. Arya, can I just add some information about how
please, Ibu.
Why we mentioned that maybe the total land used for the smallholder can be increased in the future, maybe because they can use their own land, Pak Arya, because nowadays maybe they plant like rubber, they have land to they use other commodity or other plantation, and then they can conversion their own land to palm oil. It is the possibility why the smallholder can be increased. Can we increase the number, Pak? Because I think, but to go to the forest, I think to do the forestation is must be not easier than now, because you know, our regulation is very strict for other plantation. For example, in our regulation in these days in Undang-Undang UCK, the smallholder who has owned the palm oil plantation in the forest area in 5 years up, they can continue to use forest area for the palm oil plantation. But less than 5 years from now on, I think they have to convert again to be the forest area, and there can be how to say, law enforcement can go to them, and then we have punishment to who go to the forest area. So I think it doesn't mean that the increasing of the smallholder in the how to say, in the palm oil plantation, not because they go to the forest, but just because they can convert from their own land now to palm oil plantation. And the other one is because we have regulation 20% of the big plantation has to go to the smallholders. So I think some big plantation is still now on process to distribute to the smallholder because of regulation. 20% of their own land now they have to. So I think because of 20% and also because of our smallholder who has their own land, they have the integrity. We cannot manage them, that you cannot convert to other plantation and what plantation they have to they want to grow in their own land. So I think that is the right for the smallholders to choose what plantation they want to grow for their own.
Yes.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
sorry,
you.
shall I answer the question now?
Maya, please.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I find it a very intriguing question. I'm not in the legal process, so I will not give an answer to that. But I do think we should think more in overlapping land uses. So what was just said, that if farmers transform their land to oil palm, why not do an intercropping? So they keep their food crops, they have a resilient system. If the oil palm price drops, they still have income from the other crops. I think we should be much more creative in having overlapping land use, and also in the big plantations. All these seas of monoculture oil palm is not necessary. They can be grazing underneath, or they can be planted differently, and we can still have food crops in there. And then when we do that, we can save a lot of forest. So I think we can, it is a problem that farmers are in the forest, but I think if you think about expansion of increasing yields or increasing oil, we should think of overlapping land use. And we do the same in Europe now. We see, for instance, mobile flower cultivators, people that cultivate flowers. They go from farm to farm and ask for land to do their flowers there. And you see the same with pineapple people in Johor, Malaysia. They go with the pineapple and they say, can I go to your land for the first 4 years that you have oil palm? Can I cultivate your land? And then the answer is yes. And then when the palms are too big, they go to the neighbor and they cultivate on the neighbor's land. So in that sense, these pineapple people never need land. They always are in an oil palm plantation. So we can think much more about overlapping land use, I think, because that will save a lot of land and thereby greenhouse gas emissions and biodiversity.
Yeah. Thank you, Ibu Maya. This is a technical solution for overlapping land. Now I'm going to the chat room, and Ibu Dani atau Bapak Dani Rahadian asked about some of smallholders interested to adopt agroforestry to compensate the opportunity loss due to lost point or free space. But what about the efficacy of the system? Is it proven? And most ISH are subsistence, so failure to gain harvest is big risk. Maybe Ibu Maya and Pak Rusman can also respond to this question.
Yeah, if you allow me, I think agroforestry is a very wide concept. What I was saying is intercropping, then you choose one crop. I think those things have been researched very well. Agroforestry with timber trees, it's still in the exploration phase. There are some Indonesian researchers that work on it, Pak Bangbang in Jambi, for instance, and Ari Suwano in also in Jambi and in Kalimantan. But we know that trees, they compete with trees. So it will not be so easy to combine oil palm with other trees. So if you call agroforestry oil palm with other trees, you will have to take into account that probably the palm tree will give less yield because the other trees compete with it. So there I would be careful. But yeah, for the farmer, you can say, okay, the oil is one income source and perhaps the timber tree is another income source. So it doesn't matter to the farmer so much if he has a little bit less of oil as long as he has the other income source. But I must say from agronomy point of view, it has not been well researched yet.
But Ibu Maya, agroforestry is the solution for sustainability, yeah? From the point of view of sustainable sciences. Yeah? But as Pak Rusman Heriawan said that large-scale estate or large-scale plantation seems to be reluctant to have intercropping or agroforestry. How can elaborate these issues?
Yeah, that's what I try to say. Agroforestry, you lose oil. I mean, you cannot have all these crops in the same field without the palm suffering. And also, if you have a lot of crops and trees in one field, there is less space for the palm tree. So per hectare, you will have less oil. And that's why one reason why the companies don't want it. Another reason is it's difficult to manage. But intercropping, it is a very structured way of having two crops only. And you can do it without losing oil. So that may be a possibility.
So with the very high cost of benefit, then the large scale plantation will be very reluctant to do agroforestry. Yeah?
Yeah, of course they are an oil palm plant. They are there for the oil. So why would they change their system to get less oil? That's not economical sensible. But to do intercropping, they can do without problems. And one of the reasons why big companies don't want to do intercropping, they say, but then we need also to have workers for the other crop. We need supply chains for the other crop, etc. That is not our core business. But then you can allow smallholders in the plantation to do this other crop. And I have seen it in Malaysia with pineapple. I have seen it with grazing. It's not a company that has the cattle. It is a smallholder. It's not the company that has the pineapple. It's a smallholder. So they don't have to bother about veterinary care, about supply chains, etc. The palm oil is just bothering about is oil. But the smallholders, they can have an income from the other crops or from the grazing. And then for biodiversity, it's better. For environment, it's better. So we have win-win-win.
Yeah, but as long as you cannot make sure that the agroforestry system is able to be implemented in the large-scale plantation, then the sustainability remain the big issues for the large-scale plantation.
No, I don't agree, Pak Arya. Agroforestry is not a system in which you produce a lot of oil, so that will never be an option for large-scale plantation. But agroforestry is not the only way to be environmental friendly. Intercropping is also environmental friendly.
Okay, good. Okay. We still have a question from Pak Iman. The idea of agroforestry of palm oil is fascinating, but unlike rubber that can still productive even under shedding, to my experience, it is not the case with the oil palm. Can you inform us what kind of plant is suitable for oil palm agroforestry? Or it is a kind of land allocation, 1 hectare for oil palm and another hectare for agroforestry? This is the question for Ibu Maya, actually, but Pak Rusman,
so Ibu Iman, you're right.
Pak Iman.
Pak Iman, you're right. You cannot put crops under palm trees because the palm tree is very competitive and it has a big crown, so it will not allow light to come into the soil. So we have tried with ferns, because ferns, they are quite shade tolerant. You can also try it with patchouli, which is also shade tolerant. There are a few crops that are shade tolerant, but their productivity is not very high. So if you want to have permanent agroforestry or intercropping, you have to space the trees a bit wider so that there is more light coming to the soil. And then you can have all kinds of crops in between.
Yeah. I think
the last pepper is an example also I see here. Yeah.
I have to cut Ibu Maya because the time is running out. Last question to Pak Rusman Heriawan about the lack of supporting system that is raised by Ibu Uki in the first session. How can you address the supporting system to ISPO implementation that is still lacking on the ground?
Yeah, thank you, Arya. That supporting system is still we discuss about that. We don't have any full system for the to support the for the smallholder for the sporting system, but anyway, the keywords for that is how do we can make the collaboration between the stakeholder, all stakeholder, government, etc. Because based on my experience, the stakeholder work separately. Independently, no interaction between them, and then now I think the Ministry of Economic Affairs, coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs, will coordinate it, to have the we call the collaborative action, to support the smallholder. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pak Rusman and Ibu Maya. Please give applause to both of them. The time is running out, and I'm just giving one sentence that the ISPO implementation and intercropping is still remain very hard to do because there are some homeworks that still need to be thinking about. And I'm now, thank you very much to Pak Rusman and Ibu Maya and also the audience. And I'm going back to...
thank you, Arya. Thank you, Maya.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Maya, Pak Rusman. And I'm going back to the Master of Ceremony. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak Arya. But we will have a certificate for our panelists of this session. Please, Pak Arya.
Yeah, please show the certification of appreciation is awarded to Ibu Maya Slingerland. Please give applause.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and the second certificate of appreciation is awarded to Pak Rusman Heriawan.
Thank you, Arya. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much for Mr. Arya as moderator and also our panelists, Bapak Rusman and Ms. Maya, for the second dialogue session. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin in the third dialogue session that will talk about can ISPO certification of smallholders contribute to international recognition of sustainable palm oil from Indonesia? The moderator of this session is Mr. Orto Hostes. To Mr. Otto, please welcome.
Yes, thank you, Master of Ceremony. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a third and very interesting dialogue still remaining on the menu with two esteemed guests, Ibu Dia from Kehati Foundation. She will start. Very experienced in the field of sustainable palm oil, a driver, I would say. I've met her several times, energetic person. And I think the same goes for Mr. Frans Klaassen, who will be the second speaker, chairing the European Palm Oil Alliance for quite some years, been director also of a product board on margarine, fats and oils, a very, well, I think experienced person in this field. So I'm very happy that he kindly accepted our invitation also to speak on this issue. Can ISPO certification on smallholders contribute to international recognition of sustainable palm oil from Indonesia? We'll use the same format. We'll have, of course, the two discussants, Ibu Dia and Frans Claessens, speak first, make their statement, and then me trying to engage with them in a discussion. May I invite Ibu Dia to take the floor, the virtual floor.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Otto. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for IPB to invite me in this great dialogue. I think what Ibu Mus give presentation is very complete, and then also some I make a note, some discussion in the two dialogue before. Yeah, I got the very important question for me is, can ISPO certification on smallholder contribute to international recognition on sustainable palm oil from Indonesia? And then my answer is yes, if. And then yes, if the smallholder ISPO is comply to the global principle on sustainability. And then one is very important principle is about the trans.
Sorry, can somebody unmute Ibu Dia? Or Ibu Dia herself? Please try again.
Still unmute. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I repeat. Yes. When I got the question, very interesting question. Can ISPO certification on smallholders contribute to international recognition on sustainable palm oil from Indonesia? My answer is yes, if. I think if the ISPO for smallholder is complies to the global principle on sustainable. One of very important principle is about the transparency. Transparency how the Indonesian process to comply the sustainable goals. So I think one basic issue in the smallholder ISPO is about the legality issues. Is very basic issues. Many homework, I think, in these issues. In the legality, many palm oil plantation land managed by communities without having any legality, such as freehold certificate, and then also mostly proof the smallholder have is only in the form of land certificate. We call SKT. I think big homework for us. 730,000 hectares of palm oil plantation inside in the forest area, managed by smallholders. And then outside the forest area is 1 million hectares of plantation. So I think if we need the international recognition, we have to see the process, and then for the land legality, I think it's very important that Indonesia can giving the process how to solve the issues of the legality, and then also business legality. If we see the STDB, I think some presenter also Mbak Uki mentioned about STDB. I think the calculation based on the assumption cost of the STDB data collection and registration defined under the SPOSI KHT info brief. It is quite expensive for the farmer. I think almost 180,000 rupiah per hectares need for the business legality administration process. So it is, I think, it is the big homework for us. Next, please. And then if we see, as I mentioned before about what the international recognition needs, is transparency to see how the good agriculture practices work, and also how the institutional capacity and the environmental management. I think it is the three things is very important for smallholders to comply. And then all the process, all the information, all the data, all the process, I think we need internationally is need to see how the Indonesian working on these issues. For example, how much of the groups has been facilitated up until now, how the responsible for the budget, because in the field we see that all the three is about gap, environmental management, institutional capacity is need the budget. So we need the transparency also from the government, how the budget allocated for the smallholder. So I think Pak Rusman also mentioned about how to smallholder dealing with the certification of palm oil seed. I think in the PSR in replanting process for smallholder. I think it is the very, very important note for the process. I think the institutional capacity is one big challenge for the smallholders. So if we see in the my slide is who is responsible for the facilitation, how much the cost, and then who will provide the budget. I think Pak Otto, I think I'm focused to the slide, and then I think if the process, if the things that we now ongoing, and then we need the open to the public. It is need the process. Update to the public. I think we can see how the smallholder ISPO can recognized by international market or by buyer countries. Thank you, Pauto.
Yes, well, thank you very much for your good and clear statement, also problem statement. And I agree with you. There was a lot already in the PowerPoint presentation, the speech of Ibu Musa. So we are struggling with that one, how to address these. We'll come back to you soon. Before that, I'll invite respected Frans Klaassen to make his statement on the question. Please, Frans, can you do so?
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Otto. And dear participants, I first of all would like to congratulate the organizers with this conference and this seminar. It's high-level experienced experts in this seminar, and I appreciate very much the opportunity to be part of this one. And also very good to see many old friends from Indonesia. Yeah, to coming back to the question on the content, maybe my next slide. Yes, absolutely yes to the question. ISPO certification of smallholders will definitely, in my opinion, contribute to the international recognition of sustainable palm oil from Indonesia. The reason is, why is that so? It's for several reasons. 5 reasons, I mentioned here 5 reasons. Let me elaborate a little bit on these topics. I think the first one is a political reason. I think by introducing ISPO, not only for smallholders, but also for the whole palm oil industry, I think there's a very strong signal from the Indonesian government that the government is committed towards sustainable UN Sustainable Development Goals. It's also a strong answer to all the international questions related to the sustainability of palm oil. I think it's also a strong signal, ISPO, to internally Indonesia to increase to support and introduce sustainability policies. I think ISPO is, and we have not discussed that, I think is next to the presidential moratorium, is I think crucial for the image of sustainable palm oil worldwide. At the same time, politically is also important for all the, let's say, international EU, Indonesian, EU, Asian political discussions related to within the joint working group on EU Asian, within the EU RED about the current discussions on the discussion in Europe on due diligence related to deforestation. So I think this is the good and right answer on the political level. Yeah. Secondly, if we go to the fact that ISPO is mandatory, I think is very important. I think also included for smallholders, everybody understands that for smallholders the mandatory date is postponed. We need to organize it, and everybody understands there is a huge challenge and I won't say problem, but challenge to get it organized. But I think I think this is also a right answer to the voluntary schemes. Voluntary schemes, with all due respect, and we all know that in Europe we appreciate very much the RSPO standard in the market, I would say, but I think a mandatory standard covers the whole national production of palm oil, and that is crucial to also answer the questions. Voluntary standards lack this mandatory aspect. And we see that after so many years of RSPO, around 20% of the production is certified, so that's not enough. Yes, it's important. Thirdly, for smallholders, we all understand and appreciate very much the information today. I understand I always thought 40% of production is part by plantations is done by smallholders, but today I heard that in 2030 the percentage will even increase. So it even stresses the importance to get the smallholders organized. Yeah. If we look to the impact, impact is of course important, and I think with the current initiatives and measures already taken in Indonesia, and if you look already to let's say the reduction of deforestation in Indonesia in the last 4 years, I think there's also a signal that these kind of policies help to in the field to end this. And although there are a lot of challenges, it's a good proof for the international arena to show this. Coming back to the markets, I think, I mean, we know the European market is very much driven by RSPO uptake. 86% is already of the palm oil in the European market is certified sustainable palm oil on behalf of RSPO. But the image of palm oil is still under pressure. We as EPOA, we try to tell a more balanced story. But I think ISPO and certification of smallholders is a huge will help to improve the image of the total market of palm oil, and with that it helps selling sustainable palm oil not only in Europe but also other parts of the world. So yes, I think it's important to acknowledge that mandatory standards like ISPO are very important. If I would like to go to the second slide I have is I mean, what is needed to strengthen recognition of ISPO? I think I appreciate this conference very much because today by Ibu Musdaliva, but also by Pa Rusman, I received a lot of information already on the status of ISPO, not only on the legal side, but also on progress. And I think that is important for the interest. We need to get information. And I think Marike Leegwater also mentioned that for me, it was hard to find principles and criteria in the English language at the site. So we need that. We need transparency to also on the progress of the certification, not only of smallholders but overall. Yes, there are challenges, but report on that and mention that. I think this conference shows that you are open. Indonesia is open. All stakeholders are open about the challenges. And I say a little bit changes that. If you are, I think with that we can be more open to the outside world. Because if we are not open, and that's what you see currently, that some NGOs make use of the fact that formal information from Indonesian government on the progress of ISPO is not available in English, then other NGOs, they come up with reports on the progress of ISPO, and we are in Europe, we are not able to see how to interpret these other reports. So I think don't create a gap in the communication, fill in the communication and let us know. I think this conference is an example. It's a good tool for dialogue with EU, with NGOs, with policymakers, etc. I think, and that's also what I agree with Ibu Dia, I think continuous improvement is part, and all the challenges we need to take care of it. And last but not least, I would say, I think from all the stakeholders involved here are fully understand the importance of ISPO and certification of smallholders. At the same time, for smallholders, maybe the most, we have to look at what is the benefit for the smallholders. I think what I see from RSPO and others is if you introduce the good agricultural practices as a part of the part of the sustainability, I think there is the most profit already for the smallholders, and I think that is what we need to show to them, and with that we can convince them to get certified. So we need to focus what are the benefits. I think the benefit for the smallholders on legality, I think very important certification maybe is less. So we need to find tools how to motivate the smallholders. So with that, I leave it and open the floor for questions and discussions, Professor Otto.
All right. Well, great contribution. And I saw two yeses. One yes, but or if. Huh? Ibu Dia, but a very strong yes from Frans Klaassen. So let's discuss their contributions now. Ibu Dia touched upon the if part, a bit of like, okay, if we can't address the legality issue, well, you know, there's a danger that the ambition of ISPO certification to 2025 may not be reached, and even worse, this may damage the reputation or come to that. But first, I'd like to discuss with you, Ibu Dia. You say like very, very eloquently or very strong, I think, how soon will there be a settlement for illegal plantations? And I think this is, of course, a difficult issue. But can I invite you, a bit of tease you, sorry for that, to share with us how we can make steps, or how can maybe also governments or the Indonesian government make a step to address this? So you're completely right. This is a very big issue, but how can we make 1 or 2 steps to address this? What would you say, Ibu?
Yeah, I think it's ongoing process, Pak Otto. Under the President Instruction number 8, it is about the moratorium. I think it is ongoing process in the mapping, make the data reconciliation between ministry and institution, government institution, and then in the last 2 years, we got already the numbers of the numbers and data detail in the reconciliation data between Ministry Environment and Forestry, BIC, and other institutions, and also the NGO working on that data. And then it is good step for us. It's good step. And then so it's after the consolidation is the land cover. Data covered by palm oil, and then now trying to overlap with the land status, and then it is quite the process is not easy one, because the land status is the land status is under many institutions, and then under a local government, and then still it is the process is quite strong leadership under the coordinating minister on foreign economic affairs. And then also by KLHK, because in the process. So I think if we see the update or progress for under the President Instruction number 8, it is trying to solving. And then for me, it is the process of the transparency data among the minister, and then it is the process is quite good. And then I think the update data and process, and then in the last we need some institution taking the decision, great decision.
Okay.
The leadership is really neat in this process. So I think this is ongoing.
Yeah. All right. Process. All right. Thank you. I'd like to a bit of shift the question also to Pa Frans Klaassen, because he really makes a point. Like, tell us in Europe what is going on, and preferably in English. So Pa Frans, can you share your ideas? This is maybe one of the underbellies, like this land legality issue. It's not an easy problem. So you cannot just push away the problem, and you're saying, look, try to be transparent. So what would be how to engage in this without running the risk that you get sweeping statements in Europe, NGOs walking away with very strong statements? What would you advise? You can hear from Ibu Dia how complex it is. At the same time, there's efforts, but how to communicate this? What would be your advice, Pa Frans?
Yeah, well, I don't have the silver bullet to be honest, because we in ISPO, we already for many years tried to rebalance the palm oil debate to get it more fact-based. But I think it's also we talk about acceptation of ISPO in Europe. I think today I heard a lot of information from different stakeholders on the status of ISPO and the challenges. I think this information is not at least what I know and I see in the European public or media is not being said and informed. So we need to find a way. Of course, we fully understand that due to COVID, we were not able to personally meet and have conferences in Europe to explain, and that Indonesia was not able to present it. But I think together we can. I think this. I think first of all, you talk about small steps, Otto. I think this seminar is already a small step, a small win to gap the bridges, and so I promote very much this kind of information sharing to the wider audience in Brussels and wider audience food industry, and I think that is important, and of course. I think all the stakeholders in Brussels, with governments and NGOs, fully understand. Also in the supply chain, understand that that certifying 1 million smallholders or even more is a huge task and cannot be done over time. So in that sense, I also believe, and we are promoting that also in the Commission, we need collaboration between the stakeholders in Europe and Indonesia to together help you, because as Europe we cannot just say you need to be sustainable and we leave it with that. So this project also between the Wageningen University, IPB, but also the project with Solidaridad in DISCOPS and others are good, important steps to strengthen collaboration, and I think that is the first way.
Also, is it possible for me to add, or is that strange?
Say that again, please.
Can I add, please, Otto?
Yeah, please. Marike, go ahead. Because you made a similar point at the very beginning.
Yes,
so you're welcome.
So I'd like to add that I really appreciate this discussion. So thank you so much for having it. And I see also the complexity, but I like to reiterate and stress, I think, the point made by Frans. It's so good to be transparent and not allow the floor for, let's say, forces that kind of abuse the sentiment against palm oil here. And I would really like to encourage Indonesian stakeholders to tell their own story. And I realize it's complex, but I guess I want to flag that hiding is not an option, because the information flows and satellite imagery these days is creating so much transparency. So it's better really to tell the own story than let others tell it. And I think it's a really great moment, because the European Commission is working on this new regulatory framework for the import of forest associated crops, where palm will be definitely involved. So I think it's perfect time to think about how to be more transparent. And I think IPOA can be a great support in that. And maybe also there's a network called Sustainable Palm Oil Choice that may be of help as well. So I wanted to add that. Thank you.
Great, Marika.
I think also one thing is, I'm agree with the Frans. We need the knowledge management, because if you mention about the report, about the progress, about the update, about the policy effort by our government, I think we need how to manage the knowledge, not only for the international, also need in the domestic stakeholders.
Maybe also to add, I think, if we have, if the information that is available now, and I think, and that, I think you see more and more that scientists are more open, also in Europe, not only from Wageningen University but also other universities, on the importance of sustainable palm oil and the progress. I think it should not only come from Indonesia itself. I think we, as an industry like IPOA, have a role to play. I think scientists have a role to play. And they are doing it, I can say, and we can strengthen the cooperation in that respect. And like Marike said, also fully also understand Indonesian friends that also in Europe there are NGOs like Solidaridad and Conservation Internationals and WWF who are in favor of sustainable palm oil and in favor of ISPO. So and they speak also up, and together we can strengthen the voice.
Yeah, you're nearly kind of, evoking a statement from my side, but indeed that is also how I see it, if I may say. A bit of stepping out of my role as host or chair, but for the Indonesian government to orchestrate collaboration between international scientists and leading NGOs in this field, like Kehati and also Solidaridad, of course. I mean, if you would bring this together, Ibu Mus, then you get the creative ideas, but also realistic ideas and better ideas, I think. And I think otherwise you get like what Ibu Dian and also Pa Frans and Ibu Marika saying, that then the rumors are spreading simply based on bad information, lack of information. But right. And I wholeheartedly also agree with Pa Frans saying, look, there's more than, of course, Dutch research agencies. I believe also Clara Brandi is on board from Germany, done wonderful research on ISPO and RSPO. So there's of course, Montpellier. So there's quite some knowledge institutes who can play a role in this. And yes, Pa Arya and myself, we can help facilitating this and making next steps, next dialogues. Right. Let me see whether there's things mentioned in the chat, which there will be, and to see whether I can share that again with you, Pa Frans and Ibu Dia. Right. Let me read. There's a question from Lucas. It goes to Ibu Dia, and mentioning there's such a paradox and kind of contradictory regarding efforts for strengthening ISPO on the one side, and it's about it. He says, I think, it's about political sovereignty versus global governance imperatives. Wow, this is a big thing. So what is this issue that, and can it be resolved? I hope, Ibu Dia, you see the question. Strengthening ISPO on the one side and political sovereignty versus global governance on the other. Please.
Okay. Pak Otto, Pak Lucas, I think this two things is very, for me, is very common for all commodities.
Yeah. Okay.
The international market will always use the situation, the trade policy approach with the critical issues.
Yeah.
And then because Indonesia is not only about the palm oil, about the timber, about the coffee, about the species, and then others. And then it is, I think, all the commodities exported by Indonesia, it is always, they contradictive. They trying to push to the issue of the climate change, the issue of the deforestation is, and then the issue of now is very common. It's very, big pushing is about the carbon. For me, is how to this issue can be solved. For me, it's not solved. It is common. Every decade is we can have the new issues. After the deforestation, we can we get the another issues, and then for me is. One is the transparency. As Pak Frans mentioned, it is about the knowledge management, how to Indonesia putting all the process, all the effort, or all the situation in the information box, and then work with the government, work with the academician, with the NGO, with the international donor, how to package the process in Indonesia become the information. For the political issue, I think we know not only in Indonesia, but also in others countries in the Europe, if we change the the political actors we see, but the issue still there. The issues, the main issue is still there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is in political sciences we call it the wicked problem, never ending. But I like, if I may say, the wording also of Pa Frans saying, look, whatever, we'll face these issues, also like Ibu Dia saying, recurrent issues. Then we can kind of, focus on I'm right and you are wrong. But that is a bit of a dead-end discussion. I think then there's need to I get 2 points from your contribution for collaborative governance, for collaboration, put normal, and also facing the problems and being transparent about that. And this goes beyond, if I may say, Lucas, it goes beyond your question. This is, I think, the way to overcome the paradox that you mentioned by acknowledging that the government of Indonesia is, of course, a very important player, but wants to collaborate and is eager to collaborate with other stakeholders. So I think that is maybe a nice way to move forward. There's Dani also, Dani Dayat, asking to all of us. Let me phrase and read the question. There's some certification schemes for oil palm in Europe. How can ISPO be seen as a competitive certification scheme that may attract customers to consume? Maybe Ibu Dia first and then Pa Frans. Can you answer this question?
Yeah, I think Pa Dani, we already make the comparative certification scheme, ISPO, RSPO, MSPO, and then ICC. For me, is not about the competitive, but we'll see. It's completed for ISPO, mainly for ISPO, looking at their certification, sustainability certification scheme, and then see what the ISPO can improve. And then it's on I think ongoing. The implementation ISPO can see what the need to improve some principal criteria for sustainability, looking for other certification scheme.
Right. That's a clear answer. Pa Frans?
Yeah, I fully agree with Ibu Dia. First of all, to be accepted, I think first you need to know, more the details of ISPO to the consumer. I think the consumers I see here, the food industry. What I see and there is at the same time I have to also there's a challenge in Europe. There is a challenge also in Europe that on one hand the European Commission but also food industry would like to have, let's say, segregated streams of certified sustainable palm oil. And how do we deal then if we have certified streams of palm oil with certificates of smallholders? Because how do we get the supply, the oil from the smallholders into the markets in Europe? I think at the same time, that's a huge challenge, and also the European Commission with the new plans is focusing on let's say mass balance or segregated streams. I think we need to bring to the table more that we should not inclusion of smallholders is very important for the whole industry and for the whole UNSE. So we need to work together to explain ISPO and the importance for that for smallholders and to get that being organized.
Yeah, that's a great point. So if ISPO can have an added value on reaching out to smallholders and find a way also to not see ISPO like competitive, but both working towards the same goal. And also scholars like Clara Brandi saying, like, the two schemes are converging. And as Pa Frans, I think, very, very sharply sees, time is gone to be, to define one scheme as better than the other. And there's a general bit of negative sentiment. This is fed by lack of information. And so ISPO, high profile on smallholders, finding ways also very concretely to make things work at the farm level with ISPO. And finding ways also to communicate these things in an open way. I think these are really, I see them, I summarize a bit and putting my own ideas to it as ways forward, as small steps towards this very, very big goal of 1 million smallholders. But hey, why not go for big goals? Huh? And then find out the small steps that we can take.
Yeah.
All right. With that, it's nearing here in the Netherlands 12 o'clock, which means 5 o'clock your time. I would like to give the word back to the MC, thanking the two discussants for their contributions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Papa.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Otto and all of the panelists. But first, Mr. Otto, we would like to ask you to symbolic giving the certificate for Mr. Frans and Ibu Dia.
Yes, well, this is, Pa Frans, this is a very, very nice Indonesian custom, handing out the certificates, and it says really how much we appreciate your participation and contribution. And it says it, certificate of appreciation. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Papa. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It was an honor to be part of this discussion.
Yeah. Let's continue on this.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Otto, and also Mr. Frans and Ibu Dia. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's already 5:15 in Indonesian times. So welcome in the last session of today's Zoominar. The last session will be concluding remarks from Ms. Charlotte and Ibu Musdalifah. The first will be guided by Bapak Arya. To Bapak Arya, please welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Ilhamda. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to invite Ibu Charlotte Bernhard, Mrs. Charlotte Bernhard. She is important official at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands at the Department for Sustainable Economic Development within the team Sustainable Production and Trade. And here, Ibu Charlotte Bernhard works, among others, on the elimination of child labor and on the sustainable palm oil. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ibu Charlotte Bernhard to give a concluding remarks on our seminar. Please, Ibu Charlotte Bernhard, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you all esteemed speakers and participants. Being one of the last ones, I will try to keep it short, as it was a long but very interesting and informative session. And many things were said, and good discussions took place, I think. So it's difficult to highlight all interesting things that came up. However, I believe sustainable production of palm oil is important, and it's also a policy priority for the Netherlands. Certification standards can support sustainable production, and support of smallholders is also important, as we heard today. With the NISCOPS program, which was mentioned, I think, by Mr. Frans Klaassen and also by Marieke. With the NISCOPS program that was developed together with the Indonesian government, the Dutch government supports smallholder farmers to sustainably produce palm oil in Indonesia. And we should look at how we can increase the visibility of this program and possibly scaling up in cooperation with other donors, because I think it has a lot of potential. But we're also looking at other ways, for example, at processing the residual flows into high quality wood and protein extraction from the leaves, but also into increasing the current production per hectare and the development of integrated palm oil systems, for example, via intercropping and in combating and in combination with cattle breeding. Although, as we heard also today, it might be difficult, but research was done in Malaysia, and this could also be of interest for Indonesia. And also, one of the other things that we heard today is the importance of value change. Businesses have a responsibility for sustainable production and sustainable products. And standards or certificates that focus on sustainability are supportive to give directions, although there are things for discussion as well. I think there are always a lot of things for discussion, but also good ways forward. And we believe responsible business conduct is important. Businesses should perform due diligence, and we should also look at ways to stimulate businesses to do their due diligence. And the Netherlands therefore welcomes the EU initiative for broad due diligence legislation, although besides that, practical support is also important. And to increase sustainable production, especially among smallholders, well, it is a complex issue and with many different interests, but we believe that many stakeholders should be involved and collaborate together on this topic. So it was good to discuss this topic here today with so many of you. I learned a lot myself in this open dialogue. Many steps need to be taken, and it is therefore very interesting that we look today at those small wins. And indeed, as Mr. Frans Klaassen said today, this seminar is also a small win. So thank you all, and especially to the organizers for organizing this seminar today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Charlotte. Back to Master of Ceremony.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Charlotte and Bapak Arya. Ladies and gentlemen, the second closing remarks will be guided by Mr. Otto. Please, Mr. Otto.
Yes, it's my honor to introduce a person who does not need any introduction. She is an expert in the field of sustainable palm oil. She has been our esteemed person to deliver the opening speech. She is a person I know who is very much engaged in this field. Well, it's very knowledgeable and also committed to make things change. And I think, I think on behalf of all, I could say that we were all a bit of, flabbergasted, impressed by your speech. Certainly at the end, I thought, well, what can we add? Still, I hope, Ibu Mus, that you also gained something from this seminar. And of course, we are looking forward to your concluding remarks, the things you'd like to say, maybe providing some ideas on next steps that can be taken. We are glad to hear to your concluding words.
Thank you very much, Mr. Otto Hoeks. From me, myself, I do thank you very much to all of you from Indonesian side and also from the international stakeholders who has already involved in this very beneficial for us discussion, very fruitful discussion. So in the theme in our discussion and also from the speech from Ms. Charlotte, it means that we still have to working hard because it's so many from us as Indonesian palm oil, for us as from the smallholder, palm oil is the one solution for our life, for the livelihood for our smallholders. The economic advantage from the palm oil is proven for them. Many plantations can grow in our country, but palm oil is one which can give economic advantage and increase their income, and also the way to access to social life, and also to have access good education and good healthy, and many others. That's why from the regulation, which always the dynamic of the regulation that we have to follow from the certification, sustainability principle, we always do many improvement, and we are trying hard to achieve all the global standard has been raised time by time. Now we heard just now that it will be due diligent regulation. I think it's a very, new things and new hard thing that we have to working hard again. I think that's why we like. We have to always working hard, but please, we have smallholders. We have the people who has to, how to say, have a good life. We have to increase their income, because their income now is sometimes only in the poverty line. So just for their life, I think we need to have the mutual understanding between us, Indonesia and Netherlands. We're working so far, and we have a good relation between. So in this term, I think we like this, what we can continue to working together. We are now already working together, and we are how we try hard to make our to involve our smallholder to follow all the principle of the sustainability standard to achieve the global standard. So from us as a government, we try hard from all aspects that we can do to help our smallholder, and also to engage you, to asking you to pursue international organization, international, and all of the government from the consumer to look what you can support us, how you can support our smallholder, then they still can working, they still can do the economic activity from the palm oil. I think Pak Arya, Pak Hospes, I think we still have to working hard, because the proportion of our smallholders, 60% their education only basic education, yeah, how to say, yeah. So they don't have good knowledge. So we have to increase their capacity, increase their knowledge, increase their understanding why they have to do follow some requirements, some how to say principle to achieve to marketable their product, to make their product can marketable for the global. I think we are committed. We try hard to follow all the global standard or the sustainability standard, and we have to assure not only for international market but also for us. We realize that sustainability is a good thing. We have to step by step. We have to achieve the good things and the best thing for our nation and for our ecosystem, for our earth. Thank you very much, Hobbs. And again, I appreciate a lot to the organizing who has already arranged this very fruitful meeting. I'm so, how to say, I'm so proud that we can make this kind of dialogue. I hope next we can have again, yeah, for this another item. And we will working hard, and we, by your help, yeah, Pak Arya and Pak Hospes, the step that we have to do, I think we have to make the master activity that we have to from now on, yeah, to working to achieve 1 million smallholders. in the ISPO. Thank you very much, Mr. Hostess.
Ya, sama-sama.
Terima kasih, Bu.
Terima kasih.
Very important. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Mus and also Mr. Otto. We would like to ask Mr. Otto to give symbolic the certificate for Ms. Charlotte and Ibu Musdalifah, and also a closing statement for this event today.
Yes, of course. A word of thanks to Ibu Charlotte, who is, a high-level government official working on so many dossiers, still being able to contribute. So I really appreciate your contribution. And also, of course, we hope that one way or another, new initiatives can be stimulated. I've heard several of yours in this field in the coming future. This depends on a lot of people. But thanks so much for your contribution to this seminar. And wow, how can I give a certificate? I mean, thanks so much, Ibu Musdalifah. I know you a bit. I know how you look at things, and also, the many say fields and axes that you're collaborating with. I wish you greater wisdom in this, and our humble support as on behalf of IPB and of course Wageningen University. I think government agencies, and I echo the words of Ibu Dia, can play a very important role and are to play a very important role. Indeed, what I see is you work terribly hard. But let's collaborate on this. We can also, as research agencies, NGOs, collaborate with you on this and help you also realizing these ambitions. In our view, it's only through collaboration that the best things happen. So, I find your concluding also remarks on the due diligence super interesting. I think also Pa Frans rightly noted that. So let's work on that. And I think the due diligence and the proliferation, it will take place. So let's face it, not run away from it, and proactively engage with each other, developing also points of view and action on this. Yes. A few things I'd like, this never could have happened. These are the famous words without people like Ibu Dia, Dr. Dia, Panja Pramuja, my friend and former PhD, working behind the scenes. Of course, Pa Arya, leading also the Indonesian team, not to mention Faris, Bayu, Ita. These are all, and of course, the Master of Ceremony stepping in. You're a great team, and I'm proud of you. And I'm looking forward to next collaborations, ladies and gentlemen, that will happen. Probably one in October, another dialogue, and maybe also next year.
Yeah.
And Pa Arya, myself, we will keep on collaborating on this in the future. All right, Master of Ceremony. Maybe Pa Arya would like to add a few words if he likes.
No, I think it's enough. I'm on behalf of IPB and Wageningen University and Research. Thank you for all the participants, Ibu Musdalifah, Ibu Charlotte Bernhard, all of the discussion. Yeah, I cannot mention one by one, and all the audience and also the Master of Ceremony with the teams and also Angin team and also sports team of IPB University. Thank you very much. I think God bless you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Otto and Bapak Arya.
Keep healthy to all of you.
Thank you for all.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Terima kasih banyak.
Sehat semua.
Thank you.
Mari, terima kasih kita
Thank you.
Terima kasih Pak Otto, Pak Arya,
semua.
Pak Otto, Pak Arya, semua lah.
Thank you very much for all of the participation. It was a fruitful discussion, and perhaps it can guide us in the brighter future, especially in the palm oil sector. Once again, thank you and see you.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.